Hi there everyone, once again it is currently the 4th of May 2015. Meteorologist Robert Spetty here with you today. We are continuing to watch now Tropical Storm Noul. I know yesterday we were talking about tropical depression. It has been upgraded by a tropical storm during the overnight hours by the Japan Meteorological Agency. So now given this name, it actually is Korean. It's from North Korea. The DPRK contributed this one, and it does look like this could become a fairly strong storm system as it does continue to track off here towards the west, potentially impacting the Philippines or even swinging back towards the north and maybe skimming by the southern Japanese islands a little bit back there towards the north. But first, it has to roll through the islands of Yap, Ulithi, Feist. Remember, these areas were absolutely devastated after Typhoon Maisak last month. Let's talk about this storm system. Take a look at the satellite picture right now. Still tracking off here towards the west, but moving in a very slow pattern. When we're talking about slow storms, that means it's in a very low steering environment as well, and that means the track is going to be, well, fairly low confidence. And even the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, on their latest warning, they actually stated that the forecast track with this system, they're not very confident at much at all. But let's zoom in on the satellite picture here. The thing we have been seeing over the course of the past 24 hours since my last video update is that low-level center of circulation, which was somewhat exposed on the southern periphery, is becoming much more wrapped in. We have a very good inflow coming in from the east just south of Guam. Lots of moisture wrapping in with that. Right here, there's Yap. It's starting to get these thunderstorms flaring up, at least at this time. Ulithi and Feist have both been put under tropical storm warnings by the Guam National Weather Service. Remember, they are the ones that actually warn on these storm systems for these small islands there towards the southwest. And they could even see some typhoon strength wind gusts if this does continue to intensify, especially on this very slow pattern. So here's the current intensity from the Japan Meteorological Agency. 35 gusting to 50 knots, pressure of 1,000 HPA. Here's another thing that I was just mentioning here. Tropical storm warnings are in effect. Now, this is from the Guam National Weather Service. I do want to note these are two different warning agencies, but good news, they're pretty much in line with each other because they do have these tropical storm warnings in effect for Feist and Ulithi. Also, we have warnings in effect a little bit farther there towards the south. We have tropical storm watches in effect for Yap itself. Palau, you don't have any warnings at this time, but I don't think you're actually getting on. This looks like it should stay towards the north, but a lot of these small islands are being warned on, and it does look like you're going to be seeing at least sustained tropical storm strength winds, especially in those smaller ones, but gusts could be even higher. Now, the thing about Maisak we've seen, that was moving at a fairly decent pace, and the wind field was massive. So we were talking about a absolutely just destructive storm surge with that system. I don't think we're going to be seeing that out here on some of these smaller islands as our storm does push overhead. The storm surge is not going to be as devastating. The big issue is that you're still looking at desalination on some of these smaller islands because of the storm surge, so you can't really grow crops. This isn't going to be helping that scenario very much. It's also going to be kicking up these winds. Really don't have much shelter at this time as far as the trees are concerned. They're still trying to grow back in, so this is going to have some impact on a lot of these islands. And if you are out here in Yap, please let us know. Share some photos of the impact, at least from this storm system. I think it's going to be moving a little bit north of Yap itself, so you're going to be missing the brunt of it. But as this does continue to track on that westerly projection, do expect this to continue to intensify by the 0618 UTC. So we're talking about the overnight hours here on the 6th going into the 7th. This is expected to become a typhoon according to the Japan Meteorological Agency. The Joint Typhoon Warning Center actually expects it to intensify a little bit faster, and they actually expect it to peak intensity around about a Category 3 to Category 4 potentially of a storm system. So that's some pretty nasty stuff. The big thing is that they do expect that intensification to really occur in the 5-day forecast east of the Philippines. Now note, take a look at our screen here. This is the 5-day forecast track. It is still east of Visayas. So if we're talking about any impact on the Philippines, it's going to be beyond a week out. So, of course, these smaller islands are going to take the brunt of this as we go ahead through your Monday into Tuesday, and even tapering off as we go ahead into Wednesday. For example, and yeah, I expect these storms to really increase up here. Tuesday's just going to be a rough one out there. High winds we're talking about, and then it should taper off. Still, those showers linger around by your Wednesday as our storm system continues to push overhead and really just kind of tracks off here very slowly towards the west. So you're going to see here, by the time we look ahead into Thursday and Friday, you're still seeing that trailing of moisture coming around this, and still have those thunderstorms continuing to flare up. Now, this is by Thursday and the Friday. Still look at where the storm system is. It's down here towards the south, or excuse me, towards the east of the Philippines still. And the big thing is that if you look just towards the north, we have our subtropical ridge right in here. Now, this is the thing I was talking about yesterday. We have our subtropical ridge. We have a passing trough off here towards the north. How intense is this trough going to be to break down the ridge? The ECMWF model, that's the one you're looking at right here, doesn't expect it very intense because you don't really see these winds kind of pouring in towards the south. Our high pressure area, that subtropical ridge, just stays in place and just holds its ground across this area. That would allow our storm system to track a little bit farther there towards the west, potentially impacting the Philippines. Let's look at some other stuff here, though. We have our streamline analysis. There's the ridge. If that breaks down, then the models could pull this back here. Excuse me, the models are indicating it could pull back towards the north. This is the GFS. And actually, this is one thing I do want to note. I'm actually seeing some social media casters out there, and they're totally relying on the GFS. If you are an inspiring weather forecaster, and you're going to be looking at models, and if you want to be a model forecaster and not look at anything I just explained about the high pressure ridge, don't look at one model, guys, because I'm noticing, I seen one page that just reflected this, and they have the track way off here towards the east, just recurve, and then it pulls out to the ocean. This would be a very good scenario if the GFS, the NSEP model, followed through. It doesn't even come close to the Philippines. Maybe a little bit of an enhancement with the monsoon here could bring some showers, kind of kick off the southwest monsoon. That is a bad idea, though, just looking at one model. Some people like using a GFS, and I like favoring one or a model or another. It just depends on how they have been playing historically. But let's look at some of the other ones here. Let's actually go over towards the ECMWF. This one, a little bit farther there towards the west, just rolling across Luzon, still is a fairly strong storm, maybe impacting Taiwan over towards the southern Japanese islands. Then we can even look at the NavGem as well. NavGem actually goes more so on a direct westerly track, impacting parts of northern Visayas and Luzon. So, yeah, we got a lot of different models that we put together here, guys, and we look at. And the big thing is that you want to be talking about here in the extended range is that potential for really, as far as my concern is right now, I think anybody along the eastern seaboards of Luzon here really need to be watching this. And hey, guys, and even the southern Japanese islands, I don't really think you should worry about it too much, because if this even just skirts eastern Okinawa, that's going to put you on the western side of the storm, so winds won't even be very high if that does occur sometime next week. The big thing, I think, right now, though, is if you are out here, you need to watch this. Even if we do get that recurvature scenario, it still could pull in that moisture from the west, as I mentioned, and bring some rains. That's good news. It's very dry, so the Philippines does need the rainfall. But for now, don't rule out this storm completely. If you are just looking at the GFS, it's going to recurve according to that model, but other ones say no. It depends on the influence, how fast this moves towards the west, and the influence of that passing trough there towards the north. Alright, guys, that is a 9-minute long update. If you are out here in the Yap, good luck with this storm. It's not going to be anything like my sock, but I wouldn't be heading to the water anytime soon. Try to stay out of the ocean there, especially. A lot of Japanese people down here, this is a holiday in Japan this week. It's Golden Week. Everybody's got the day off. So everybody's been on vacation down here towards the south. So hopefully everybody gets through this storm as it does continue to intensify. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please let me know down there in the comment box below. And as always, stay safe out there.